and welcome to the Chemistry Academy. In this video we're going to go over the hybridisation of carbon in relation to the advanced higher chemistry course. So this is a subtopic that is sometimes quite confusing, but I'm going to try and simplify it so that it makes as much sense as it needs to make sense for you guys in terms of your exam. So in the course we focus on the hybridisation of carbon, but other atoms of different elements are, there's hybridisation possible in other instances as well, but we only really ever talk about the hybridisation of carbon in advanced higher chemistry. So just to be aware of that in case it sometimes crops up as some kind of problem solving type question. If it mentions about hybridisation in anything other than carbon, it is possible. So you just need to apply the knowledge you know about how the hybridisation happens in the carbon instance and apply that to the other newer instances that you might be presented with, because it is essentially the same theory behind it all. So first of all, to talk about what hybridisation actually is. So hybridisation happens to atomic orbitals, and what happens is the atomic orbitals mix together and combine to form new degenerate atomic orbitals that didn't necessarily exist before. So hopefully you remember the meaning of the word degenerate from the transition metal topic, equal in energy. So when carbon hybridizes, we use this to kind of explain the bonding formations we see in different carbon-based structures, because if there was no hybridization of the atomic orbitals, we would probably not see the structures that we do find in organic carbon-based molecules. So there are three types of hybridization that carbon atoms can form. We've got sp3, sp2 and sp. Now the good thing about the names of the hybridization, as like everything in chemistry, is very blatantly obviously named. So you can use the names of the type of hybridization to work out how the hybridization has occurred and what the new hybridized orbitals actually are. So if we look at sp3 first of all, so within sp3 hybridization, what has happened is the 2s orbital and the 2p orbitals, all three of them that are in a carbon atom, have combined to form 4 new sp3 hybridized orbitals. So these new orbitals are all degenerate, they are equal in energy, and if you're ever asked about how the sp3 hybridization occurs, all you need to say is that one s orbital mixes or combines, it's maybe a better word actually, with 3, I'm going to put a times because it's not the 3p orbitals, it's 3 separate 2p orbitals, to form, and we get 1, 2, 3, 4 of the sp3 orbitals. Okay, and like I said, they are degenerate. When we get sp3 hybridization on a carbon, it tends to then form a structure that's got a tetrahedral arrangement. So the bond angle tends to then be around that carbon 109.5 degrees. So hopefully you remember that from the valence shell electron pair repulsion theory stuff. These hybridized orbitals go on to form sigma molecular orbitals, so sigma overlaps. So that's something that we're going to talk about a bit later on when we start looking at how to identify what type of hybridization has happened in a certain carbon atom. So if you have sp3 hybridization, then the carbon is most likely going to form 4 sigma bonds around it in a tetrahedral arrangement. Okay. If we then go on to when sp2 hybridization occurs, so in sp2, rather than there being 1s orbital and 3p orbitals combining, it's just 1s orbital and 2p orbitals this time. So 1s orbital combines with 2p orbitals to form 1, 2, 3 sp2 orbitals. And again, they are degenerate, all equal in energy. So you might notice there's a 2p orbital left over here that doesn't end up mixing with the s in this instance when we get sp2 hybridization. There is a 2p or one of the 2p orbitals left on its own, and it is slightly higher in energy than the sp2 orbitals. Going back to what I said before about this allowing then 4 sigma bonds to be formed, in this instance we then have 3 sigma bonds being formed. The 2p orbital that's left over ends up going on to form a pi bond. So when a carbon has formed sp2 hybridization, it goes on to make 3 sigma bonds and 1 pi bond. Okay, and again, this is going to be important when it comes to a bit later when we're trying to identify what type of hybridization has happened in a certain carbon. Because of this 3 sigma bonds and the 1 pi bond, you end up with a trigonal planar arrangement around that carbon atom, and the bond angle would be 120 degrees as per what is in a trigonal planar molecule. And one thing to then note is that it would be a planar, like the molecule will be planar at that point, that carbon, which again is something we'll talk about a bit later on. So that's the arrangement that's around that carbon atom. It's a flat trigonal planar arrangement. If we then go on to sp, again, like we can use the name to work out what has happened to form this hybridization. 1 s orbital this time is mixing with 1 p orbital, and we're going to end up forming 2 new hybridized orbitals. Okay, the number of hybridized orbitals you form is always equal to the number of atomic orbitals that did mix together in the first instance. So you can always work out how many of each of the orbitals you make by adding up how many orbitals you've mixed. So if you're mixing 1s and 3p, then you're going to end up making 4 hybridized orbitals. If you mix 1s and 2p, then you make 3 hybridized orbitals. So if we're mixing 1s orbital, combines with 1p of the p orbitals to form 2 sp hybridized orbitals. And again, they're degenerate, so they're equal in energy, those sp orbitals. This time we've got 2 p orbitals left over that haven't combined and mixed. They then go on to form 2 pi bonds, so 1 pi bond each, with the other carbon atom that would be having the same type of hybridization. Okay, and again, this is important when we get a bit further below. So that's what you really need to know about how the hybridization occurs and what's happening when the hybridization occurs. So you're just talking about the mixing or combining of the atomic orbitals based on the name of the hybridization to then give you your hybridized orbitals. So just to recap, in sp3, I'll change this to 1 times, make it match everything else. So in sp3 we've got 1 s orbital and 3 p orbitals combining to give 4 degenerate sp3 orbitals. In the case of sp2 we've got 1 s orbital combining with 2 p orbitals to give us 3 sp2 hybridized orbitals. And in the case of sp, we've got 1 s orbital and 1 p orbital combining to give us 2 sp hybridized orbitals. And again, all of the hybridized orbitals are degenerate, they're all equal in energy. Okay, so a bit more on then how knowing and understanding the arrangement of the bonds around the carbon can help us with identifying what type of hybridization is happening in certain carbons. So this is something you'll then be asked to do. So you could be given an organic molecule and asked to identify what type of carbon hybridization is in that molecule. So to do this, you need to kind of look at each carbon in turn, because it's the individual carbons that display a certain hybridization. So you have to really go through each carbon in the molecule and see what hybridization that's displaying. So if we have a look at that now, so we've got a couple of examples here for this one. So in this case, this carbon, this is the carbon we're going to be looking at, this one here. This is the carbon we're interested in initially. if we want to work out what type of hybridization this has had, we really just need to look at what types of bonds it's formed. So this carbon has formed 4 sigma bonds, so 4 single bonds, which means it must be sp3 hybridized, because that then allows it to have 4 sp3 orbitals that will then form 4 sigma bonds. Okay, so that carbon there is sp3 hybridized. This carbon here, this carbon has only made single bonds, so again, it must be sp3 hybridized because it's only made single bonds. Okay, so if a carbon has only made single bonds, it will be classed as being sp3. Okay, I'll just note that down here. So carbon has made only single bonds, sp3 hybridized. Okay. One thing to also note that can sometimes be asked about these sorts of molecules is the hybridization will then help you work out if the molecule is planar or not. So if you have a molecule that has any sp3 hybridized carbons, it will not be planar because a tetrahedral arrangement is not a planar arrangement. Okay, as you can see from the wedged and hash bonds here, it does have a non-planar arrangement. So any molecule with sp3 will not be planar. So any molecule with an sp3 hybridized carbon is not planar. Okay, so it's not like flat like a pancake. If we then go on to identifying sp2, so the trick is that the sp2 hybridization allows for 3 sigma bonds and 1 pi bond to be formed. So what you're really looking for here is a carbon that has made a double bond, because that will suggest that it's then also made 3 sigma bonds and 1 pi bond. So this carbon here, I'll go back to my blue, this has made a double bond, so that would be sp2. Okay, just for the sake of then kind of pulling some of this other bits into context, this carbon here, that carbon has also made a double bond, so that would also be sp2. This carbon here, that has made only single bonds. It's got a single bond to that carbon and then single bonds to the hydrogen. So because that's made only single bonds, that would be sp3. Same with this carbon here. That's only made single bonds, so that would also be sp3. Okay. You could then also be presented it with skeletal structure. So this carbon here, that's made a double bond, so that'd be sp2. This carbon has also made a double bond, so that'd be sp2. This carbon is only a single bond, so that'd be sp3 hybridized, and this one has also only made a single bond, so that'd be sp3 hybridized as well. So that circle's not very good. Okay, so it really is that simple. So if we just look at the hybridization in these molecules here, so this carbon has made, so when we've got sp hybridization, we're looking for there to be 2 sigma bonds and 2 pi bonds on each carbon. So what we're essentially looking for is that there is a triple bond between, the carbon has made a triple bond at some stage. So this carbon here has made a triple bond, so that would be sp hybridized. This carbon has also made a triple bond, so that would also be sp hybridized. Again, for this molecule here, let me just actually make this molecule a little bit bigger. The molecule looks like that. So this carbon here, that's made a triple bond, so that would be sp hybridized. This carbon here has also made a triple bond, so that'd be sp hybridized as well. This carbon here, that's only made single bonds, so that would be sp3 hybridized, and this carbon here has also only made single bonds, so that would also be sp3 hybridized. Okay, so if I just add this wee summary, so if carbon has made a double bond, then sp2 hybridized, and if carbon has made a triple bond, then it'll be sp hybridized. Okay, so when you're trying to identify the type of hybridization, you really just want to look at what types of bonds has each of the carbon atoms made. Okay, when it then comes to the sp2 and sp in terms of planar molecules, if a molecule only has sp and sp2 hybridized carbons, then it will be planar, because both of those arrangements give planar structures. Okay, because trigonal planar is planar and linear is also planar. So this molecule here would be planar because it only has sp hybridized. This molecule here, however, wouldn't be completely planar because it has some sp3 hybridized carbons in it. So this part of the molecule where the sp hybridization is, that would be planar, but this part of the molecule wouldn't. Okay, same with these molecules here. This part of the molecule would be planar where there's the sp2 hybridization, but these sp3 hybridized carbons wouldn't be. So this wouldn't be classed as a planar molecule. Okay, neither would this, but this would. Let me try and draw another planar molecule. So if we take this molecule here, so if we look at each carbon in turn, so this carbon has made a double bond, so that would be sp2. This carbon here has also made a double bond, so that would also be sp2. This carbon here has made a triple bond, so that would be sp. And then this carbon has also made a triple bond, so that would be sp. So this molecule would be planar because it has only sp and sp2 hybridized carbons in it, and both of those carbon hybridizations give planar arrangements. Okay, so this molecule would be planar. Oops. This molecule would also be planar, but this molecule is not planar. So essentially, if there's any sp3 hybridized carbons in the molecule at all, it's not going to be planar. If there's sp2 and sp only, then it will be planar. So where will I write this? Squeeze it in here. So molecules with sp and sp2 hybridization only will be planar. Okay, so that's something to bear in mind. You get multiple choice questions on that sometimes, looking to see if a molecule will be planar or not. So looking at the types of carbon hybridization that is occurring in the molecule can help with that. So that's my summary on hybridization of carbon. Just to cover the key points again of what you really need to know for the exam, just in case, again, like this can be a bit confusing. The hybridization happens because atomic orbitals mix to form new degenerate atomic orbitals, hybridized ones, and you can use the name of the hybridization to help you work out which orbitals have mixed. So again, sp3 is where you've got 1s and 3p orbitals mixing to form 4 sp3 degenerate orbitals, sp2, 1s, 2p to get 3 hybridized orbitals, and sp, s and p mixing to form 2 hybridized sp orbitals. And then really just then explaining or working out what type of hybridization a carbon has. So if a carbon has only made single bonds, it will be sp3 hybridized. If a carbon atom has made a double bond, it will be sp2 hybridized. And if the carbon atom has made a triple bond, it would be sp hybridized. And then remembering that any molecules with sp3 hybridized carbons will not be planar. Any molecules that have only sp and sp2 hybridized carbons will be planar. And that's it. So hopefully that helps. If you found this video useful, please give it a like. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you again soon.